I love the Korean pine tree. We call it solnamu. And it is unique to Korea in that this particular Korean pine doesn't grow straight, but it bends and it moves as it grows. And so it gives all these interesting angles and turns in the branches and in the trunk itself. And Koreans say that this represents the twisting and turns of the history of Korea itself, that as a nation it suffered many tragedies and many invasions over history, and yet this will to live, this life impulse of the nation has caused the nation to, at every twist and turn, to continue to endure and to continue to move forward as a nation with its will to live. And this life impulse really illustrates, in a bigger picture, the life impulse that God has created in all of us. Really, we see that death is not natural to the human condition. Death is really an anomaly. It's not natural to us. We notice that if, for example, if you cut your finger, it will hurt, it'll bleed, but if you treat it right, after a few days, it will naturally heal. This demonstrates the life impulse that God has built even into our human DNA, this will to live. We were not created just for temporary purposes. We were created for eternal purposes. Jesus refers to this when he talks about the resurrection. Remember, the Sadducees, who didn't believe in the resurrection, they baited Jesus, and they tried to test him with a riddle to supposedly mock the idea of resurrection and to hopefully disprove its existence through human reasoning. Jesus really defeats their reasoning when he points to the scriptures that say God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he goes on to say that God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. Now, the Sadducees were really theologically liberal. They didn't believe in all of the Old Testament. They only believed in the first 5 books. And they discounted resurrection because they thought, well, resurrection is something that appears in later scriptures. But Jesus points to the Torah itself, where he says, God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God is, I am. This is the name of God. And so God did not refer to himself as being the God in the past, I was the God of Abraham, but that he's the God of the present, meaning that in some way Abraham is still able to worship God. There is this life that exists before God. This explains why no human being really thinks of death as natural, something that we just accept as a matter of consequence, as a matter of course. No, death seems unnatural to us because it is unnatural. Resurrection, on the other hand, seems normal and natural to our human expectation. It speaks to the expectation that all of us have to live forever. It's because we were created to live forever. It's really important that Christians have a consistent worldview. For example, if a person says, I'm a Christian, but I embrace the theory of evolution, evolution really goes contrary to the concept of resurrection, because resurrection speaks of an intelligent designer who created us for eternal purposes, who created us to live forever in a meaningful relationship with an eternal God.